Hello, everybody. Welcome to Uninterrupted, the cybersecurity podcast from Forbes Cybersecurity and IT Services. I got a pretty quick one for you today, and we want to talk about some more hacker tactics. And so today I want to talk to you about open source intelligence gathering, or OSINT, how it can be used against you and your company, and just some interesting things that we've seen with it and how to kind of protect yourself from it, if that's even possible. So we're going to dive right in. So OSINT, or open source intelligence gathering, is somebody using publicly available information that's out there in order to do research on a user, company, whatever, in order to get information to kind of use that against them. And so I had a example the other day where somebody asked me, hey, I have an employee who's leaving the company and we got a request to change his payroll as his way out the door, and it was very suspicious. And this user thought that somebody was in potentially this guy's email, because it was just, how would they know that this person was leaving the company? I just looked up this guy's name on LinkedIn and I found a post of where he was starting a new position. And so all that took is, you're leaving this company and you're moving to this company, so I'm going to email. And sometimes it's not very hard to find out the actual person's email, who the owner of the organization is, or the boss, or some of these things, because a lot of that info is out there. They just looked up that email address and sent an email from a Google account that said something along the lines of, hey, my final payroll needs to be changed before I leave there so that everything's good to go. This user, or this company owner, knew that that was suspicious and didn't act on it, but what he was worried about is, how did somebody find out that this person was leaving? And so I pulled up the LinkedIn post and showed them. And so I want to show you guys how easy it is to find that kind of information, how hackers are using it, and potentially some things to think about and consider. So when we look at OSINT, what we want to see is, can somebody find that info online, gather it, and then use that against you in a way that harms you or your organization? So this will be things like LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, other social medias, seeming innocuous questions, just you Googling a person, doing all those sorts of things and finding out what's out there, and then using that in a variety of different ways. A lot of times this goes into social engineering. We're going to talk about that in a further episode here with Dan, who's our certified ethical hacker, who has done social engineering. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but this is where a lot of this comes from. You'll find out that a lot of this sounds a lot like marketing, or it sounds like sales, because it is. When I say this all the time, is that the difference between a hacking process and a legitimate business process is the intent behind it. Open source intelligence gathering can be used for good, and it can be used for bad. It just depends on the intent that's behind it. So here, I just have a simple LinkedIn search here, site, linkedin.com, just started a new position, right? So what we're looking at here is, this is a Google search. It's going to look for linkedin.com, and it's going to search for any of these sorts of things. Now, these are some older posts here, but I can set up a Google alert that happens to where if anything new pops up, I can even put in Cincinnati, what are those things? Anything new that pops up in LinkedIn, it'll send me a message about it. Here is just simple in LinkedIn. So I'm going to search here, just started a new position in LinkedIn. And what I'm looking at here is, okay, well, these are 7 months ago, 11 months ago. So let's see if we can find something fresh. That's 2 days ago, 3 weeks ago, 9 months ago. So I could potentially email, if I was looking for these alerts quickly, I could potentially email these people or email their businesses or send messages in that way to know that, hey, this is the behavior that's going on. Hey, I have an offer accepted, all those kinds of things. And I can use that to potentially scam that person or company. If I look here, same thing here. I just searched for a new position. So then these are places that are advertising jobs. Well, if I wanted to get into this company in a way, I could craft a bad email. I need you to send you my resume. Please review this. And my resume is actually a bad document that could end up causing that place to get hacked. When I am a business person that's working at a company, you can never verify the legitimacy of any email that comes through 100% or any link you click on. So hackers know this, and so they will send out bad links. They'll send out bad emails. They will send out bad attachments and all those sorts of things to get people to click to either get their Office 365 account taken over or some other things like that. The other thing we've seen when we look at open source intelligence gathering is we've seen all those kind of cute little Facebook quizzes and things like that. This has happened a lot less these days because people have kind of gotten on savvy to it. Is we've seen a lot of Facebook quizzes that said, you know, what was the name of your first dog, or what was the name of your cat, or the road you lived on, or any of those nice little quizzes, or your name for this thing is the street you lived on plus your blah, 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 plus your blah, 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 right? And you fill that out innocuously, but they're combining that with other OSINT information to try to say, hey, we need to figure out your security questions that you asked to set up this password. We need to figure out a security question that meant to change your password, those sorts of things. Back in the day, there was a hack with the iCloud, a lot of celebrities' iCloud accounts. That's what it was from, is they took in, basically were able to figure out the security questions that they asked to get those iCloud accounts backups made. And then they changed their iCloud password because they were able to prove who they were by that kind of OSINT type of information, figuring out that information, putting it in bypassing the security that they had. Now, Apple strengthened that down, but there's still other platforms that you see that say, when you set up accounts, they have you create these questions. Well, how do you get around that? Well, one of the things you want to do is you're filling out those questionnaires for those security questions, consider making nonsense data. You know, when somebody asks what city were you born in, if you say pineapple, that's going to be very hard for somebody to figure out if they gather some open source intelligence gathering. Now you need to keep track of that in a way and all those kinds of things, but that's an option for you to kind of look for this and thwart it. So you kind of want to be careful of what information you put online. I know that's kind of a common sense thing. People talk about it all the time, but this is how hackers or nefarious people can use that against you. And so we can't be perfect. We know that there's always going to be information and data that's out there, but we're not even talking about data leaks. We're not even talking about any of those sorts of things. We're just talking about what's publicly out there that somebody can use as a lever to get you to do something, and somebody can use to say, hey, there's trust in this sort of thing because I know some information that you would be surprised that I know. Or businesses are wondering, hey, is there somebody going on in my system? Is there something like that that I need to be concerned about because they got data that was in a way that was unexpected? So we can help you out with these sorts of things. Really, it's about letting people know how hacks work, what are kind of the guardrails that can be put around these sorts of items, and how to prevent it from going on in your business. So I'm John with Forbes Cybersecurity and IT Services. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We're happy to help. Go to our website, forbis.com, and fill out a contact us form. We'll reach out. We'll have a conversation about your cybersecurity and any IT questions you may have. No obligation. There's no risk, really. It's just a quick conversation, and we'll see, hey, what are maybe the best steps about if we can help, or just if you want to get some more information and chat. Thank you, and we'll talk soon. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Uninterrupted, a podcast from Forbes Cybersecurity. We hope you walked away with practical insights to protect your business and stay ahead of the latest cyber threats. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your colleagues. For more tips, resources, and cybersecurity updates, visit Forbis.com, that's 4bis.com, and follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook. We'll be back soon with another episode, so stay vigilant and stay uninterrupted.